Hey everybody, welcome to Flatware Friday, and hopefully it is still Friday by the time this video comes out. I'm doing my best to try to get this edited and out on while it's still Friday. But if you haven't been to a Flatware Friday or watched one of my Flatware Friday videos before, it's generally just kind of an informal chat about buying and selling flatware, or buying it at thrift stores and garage sales and things like that to sell for a profit online, on eBay, on Etsy, on Poshmark, places like that. So sometimes we do a little deeper dive into different topics, into different brands, things to look for and such. But a lot of times we're just kind of doing an informal chat. Now I'm trying to do this video without a script. I'm not usually very detailed scripted, as you guys probably know, but most of the times I have an outline and everything, and this time I'm just kind of winging it. So if I kind of wander and ramble more than usual, then you know why. Okay, so I thought we would talk about Oneida a little bit just because I found some pieces recently at the thrift store that reminded me of something that I thought, oh, I got to share that with my audience, with all of you guys, right? So Oneida, as I've talked about before, can be a good place to start. If you want to get into reselling flatware, Oneida is a good place to start. And one of the reasons for that is that it's just so prolific, right? They were very prolific in their sales. It's just a name that a lot of people know. You can go into most thrift stores, and if they have a selection of flatware, I know different parts of the country vary, then you most likely will find some Oneida. So it's kind of a good place to start, to get your feet wet, to get a few pieces, try it out, just kind of see how it does. There's other brands I could tell you, like if you find Dansk or if you find WMF, it's definitely, you definitely want to pick up those brands. But they're harder to find. So you could go months and months without finding any of that. So that's not really fun, or a way to kind of get your feet wet with the whole flatware selling. So we're back to Oneida. Now, Oneida, there's some stuff, like the other day I was at the thrift store and I saw some Oneida, and I didn't take the time to look up the pattern. It was cheap enough, I thought. And I think the thrift store had changed its price recently on how it prices flatware. So that was kind of a shocker. And so I have learned my lesson in that thrift store to double check what it is I'm picking up. I think they used to do 5 for $1 like the other stores. But this time I think they charged me like 50 cents a piece. And that could have just been that guy. The cashier might have been confused about what he was supposed to charge. Anyway, I told you I was going to wander. I was going to ramble a little bit. So I got that flatware home and I looked it up and I was like, if I had looked it up in the store, I probably wouldn't have known the price I was paying. I probably wouldn't have bothered. Okay, let's just put it that way. But on the other hand, there's other Oneida that you pick up and you get it home and you're like, it's a wonderful surprise of how valuable just this stainless Oneida can be. So case in point, I wanted to give you guys a little update on my Oneida Obelis flatware that I told you about in one of my last videos. And if you remember, we were out of town and I was in a new thrift store and I saw this really interesting looking flatware. And so I think I did double check it. I kind of identified it quickly in the store I didn't use Google Lens, but we've talked about before, replacements.com has a photo image, like an image search. And so it helps me find a pattern pretty quickly if I have a good spot to take a picture in the store. More about that later. We've talked about those things before. So I ended up bringing that flatware home. So I talked about this before, if you guys remember. Here's my little thing of what's left of it. And it looks like there's still a lot left, and that's true. But I did sell a bit of it already. So I did give an update in a little video short, so you guys may have seen that already, but I didn't have a place in that to give a lot of information. So the I've sold 22 pieces of that so far. Let me go back. We paid $15 for all that flatware. There was about 60 pieces total that we brought home. A couple were not, they were like the canoe muffin or something like that. They were not part of that pattern. Some of them I bought by mistake because they looked like that pattern and I was just going too quickly. But in all, we paid $15 for the 60 pieces of flatware, and there was probably 55 or something like that that ended up being Oneida Obelis. I've sold 22 pieces so far. And our total so far is $836. So that's wonderful, right? That's the type of Oneida score that you want to find. I've sold all the dinner forks. I've sold all the salad forks. Dinner forks went first. Salad forks were next. I did have some offers. People were offering like $160 for 8 of them. And at first you're like, oh man, I should take that. But then I realized, okay, that's only $20 a fork. And while that's good for most normal patterns, I had to stop and think about it, and I had to research. And when I looked it up, salad forks were consistently had sold. When I looked at the research tab on eBay, salad forks had consistently sold at $40 to $50. And then I looked at what was available on eBay, and the only salad forks available were asking like $75 for theirs. And so I'm like, well, mine are priced at like $55 or $50 or something. I have a sale running. I have discounts if you buy multiples. And so when they came in and offered like, you know, and they kind of said it like they were doing me a favor, right? Like, oh, I'll take all of these off your hands for, you know, $160. And I'm like, they're not taking up much space. It's okay. I'm not a flea market table, right? And so I think I countered a couple of those offers, and then some I just declined. But I waited a little bit longer. A few sold, and then a few more sold, and eventually I got like closer to my asking price, more like $40 a piece for those salad forks. So all is good. Nothing's been returned. No complaints or anything like that on that. I've sold some soup spoons and a few teaspoons. No dinner knives, right? And we've talked about that. Those are usually the slowest to go. So I may have to eventually, I'm selling all the flatware individually. And I think I may have to like lot up the knives at some point and just see if I can move them along. And it's been quiet. Like it was the end of the year. I sold the last of those, salad forks, and I haven't sold anything else recently. So we'll see what happens next. Okay, so speaking of Oneida and the pieces that I had found at the thrift store, like I said, I think I said, I've been like taking so many do-overs of this video so far that I can't remember which I said in which video. So if I repeat myself, this is why. So I found a couple pieces at the thrift store recently that I saw the mark, and I thought, oh, I got to tell you guys about that. So this particular line of Oneida that is good to keep an eye out for is called Heirloom. Okay, so I'm just going to read it right from the AI overview. So it says, Oneida Heirloom refers to a specific line of high-quality flatware from the renowned Oneida brand, known for its durable, stylish stainless steel patterns like Michelangelo, Damask Rose, and Classic Shell, often featuring the distinctive cube logo and recognized for its classic American craftsmanship. Although some rare true sterling silver pieces also exist under this name. Okay, so that's what AI said. And when I looked this up, AI said something totally different the other day. This is actually more accurate than what it was saying the other day. So that's the mark that I wanted to bring out. I'm going to put up a picture of it right now. So if you're busy doing other things, you can come over and look at the mark at least. Here's, I don't know, I'll have the markup, but you can't really see it. It's hard to see. There's like a little cube between the words Oneida and stainless. This particular piece, there's 2 cubes on there. So they don't say heirloom. They don't say it on there anywhere. And I think it did start off when they offered some sterling pieces. It was heirloom flatware. Even in the 70s, sterling, it was like the heirloom line. And then they, I'm guessing then they also made stainless, and the pieces that were just a little bit higher quality kind of got that designation as well. So I'm going to show you a few more examples. There are pieces that are of Oneida that are not heirloom, not considered the heirloom, that actually sell for higher prices than the heirloom. But it's just kind of one of those things that it just kind of, when you see the cube mark, you're like, oh, I bet it's a good pattern, right? So that's just kind of a little tip for you guys. So what I've been doing, I don't come across it a ton. I have done some recently. Actually, here is a recent sold. I'll put up a picture. These Oneida Rembrandt dinner forks. I think they sold for $35. Yeah, $34.99 for these 3 dinner forks. So about $10 a fork. There are other non-heirloom patterns that can sell that well also. But like I said, it's just kind of fun to come across it and to know that you probably, have something decent. Now, what I do, since I don't come across it that often, I might just have I found this one spoon in this pattern, and I found this one spoon in this pattern. And so I have something that I hold on to those pieces, and I'm so fancy. I just call it cube, and that's what I do. Okay, so I'll just show you. I just have a few random things. Like the other day when I got the Rembrandt pieces, I think I got this, and it wasn't, I don't know that it was a ton of money listing it by itself. So I just throw it in here. That's what I'm doing. So maybe down the line, I'll lot some things up. Now, as I look in here, I realize I have a fork in this pattern. It's called Act 2. And so now I have a fork and a teaspoon. It just depends. I might decide to put them together. The teaspoon might actually not be too bad of a seller by itself. I don't know. It depends on how long I want to wait to hang on to things like this. The only other thing I have in that pattern is like a casserole spoon. So I'm assuming that it wasn't a super high value one, but I could have been super picky at the moment when I was doing it. So I have to do some more research on those. Here's another pattern. Some of these I can't remember off the top of my head. Some are like American colonial, things like that. A butter knife in that Rembrandt pattern. So that's kind of already 2 serving pieces. I think that's Michelangelo. But I think it had some bending going on. So it could be worth listing. Maybe I have 2 with damage. I think I got them separately. Okay, so that might be worth listing together if I just disclose that they're bent a little bit, or I might just ask Mr. Pishposh if there's any kind of straightening up that he can do on that. So those might be ready to go. Yay! I have another teaspoon of the Will of the Wisp. Oh, no, I don't. It's a sugar spoon. No wonder. No wonder I didn't list it. See the difference in the bowl? Here, I'll show you. It's wider and narrower. So this is the sugar spoon and that's the teaspoon. Okay, so close. I have some Sheridan. It's a salad fork. That one's got the double cubes on it too. But yeah, mostly just kind of random bits and bobs, right? So anyway, so I just thought I'd share that Oneida heirloom with you. I thought that was just kind of a fun thing that I'm always on the lookout for. It, sometimes I get home and I go, oh, I guess it's not as exciting, but throw it in the container. Hopefully I'll find a few more pieces. We'll lot it up. Once in a while, I find a bunch of it at once. I remember one of my heirloom stories was I went to the dentist and found out about all this dental work I needed. And so then I went home. Oh no, then I went across the street to a thrift store that I hadn't gotten to very often. This was years ago. And sitting there in the flatware was a bunch of Act 2. One of those pieces these that I showed you at the beginning. And it was just sitting there for me, and it made me some money I could put towards my dental work. So you never know. Okay, so the other funny story I had for Oneida was I had heard about a pattern called, I think it's Capello. Oh man. Yes, it's called Capello, and I had told you about it one other time. I'll put up a picture here, but one of my fellow sellers and viewers, Mitzi, had shared that she had found some pieces of Capello, and so she had gotten really good prices. They were selling super, super well. I'm looking at replacements right now. The teaspoon is listed on replacements for $70. The dinner fork is not even in, they don't even have any dinner forks available right now. But good money for those. And so I was at the store and I got some pieces of flatware, and I got this Oneida slotted spoon, and it turns out it's Capello, right? It kind of rang a bell when I was looking at it at the store. And I get home and it's like $6.99 on replacements.com. It's like the worst selling piece out of all the Capello I could find. Okay, so I'm just saying that's the way it goes sometimes with flatware and with reselling. But I hold out hope I will find my own pieces of Capello someday. And hopefully you do too, and hopefully you also find some Oneida with the cube mark on it. That's just something I am on the lookout for. Leave me a comment down below. How is your flatware listing going? How have you guys found anything super exciting with your flatware? What was your best flatware sale of last year? And we will talk to you guys soon.